God, proper cold out there now. Really good frost this morning. It'll get even colder tomorrow, I believe. It's looking like a cold last round for the Soar Valley Winter League this coming Sunday. So, tips for you: cold weather fishing. One of the things I use, not just in the winter, but all year round. I've not brought one of the big ones with me, but bait droppers. Invaluable bit of kit. Basically, certainly in this cold weather, just getting that little parcel of bait dead accurate. I mean, whether you're on canals, rivers, or even on your commercials. I don't really see anybody using them on the commercials, and I don't know why, to be honest with you. I know we can use little cad pots and tap in small amounts, but if you were certainly in the on these skimmers leagues, silvers only leagues, I would have thought something like a bait dropper, and just, I don't know, down the margins, just that little parcel of bait, dead accurate, fishing nice light floats over the top on the old pole would be an absolute game changer, surely. So there may be people who put something in the comments if you use bait dropper on the commercials, let me know. But yeah, I mean, I obviously use them a lot on the canal and a lot on the river, because that's obviously predominantly my fishing. So whether I'm dropping, I could load that up with chopped worm, a few casters, maybe a few dead maggots, maybe some dead pinkies. Close that off, swing that out, lower it in, dump it bang on down the margins, something for a perch or something like that. Or I can be out into where there's a bit of flow or just off the flow, doing the same sort of thing, and just effectively fishing for bites, aren't you? You small parcel of feed on the deck, fishing for those odd one or two fish, especially when the water temperatures are going to be as low as what they are. I might put a bit of loose feed over the top, or I might put a small ball of ground bait in and then put my loose feed in with this over the top. Punch fishing, bread punch fishing, again, little tiny bait dropper, a little bait dropper like that on the canal with some punch crumb in. Instead of putting your ball in, you could put it so the bread is dead neat, just either down the shelf or in the trough. And certainly if it's in the trough and you want stuff to be sit on top of the leaves and stuff like that, then that's just a perfect way of doing it. So there's another little tip, which is why the cable ties are here on the side here, which I'll tell you about in a minute. Yeah, just an invaluable bit of kit. And the only thing I'd say, obviously, if you're swinging out bait droppers, just be mindful. There's quite a bit of weight in that. I actually use a carp top kit for using it's the same length as my other top kits. I'll use that for going out. It's got bigger elastic in it, and I know the top kit will take that bit more punishment. And I'll do a back link to a video that I did earlier on the river, where I'm actually out shipping out and holding the pole up so it's nigh on vertical, so when this swings down it's not going and swinging down, snapping the end of the pole off. I see people shipping out and they're dragging the bait dropper across the top of the water. Now for me, if I've got a load of chopped worm in that, I've just washed all that out, all that juice and everything that's in that bait dropper that's just been chopped out, all the way across whatever I'm fishing, whether it's a canal or whatever. You just dragged all that, and so there's a big scent trail going across, which, I don't know, it could drag fish in, but for me, no, I want that going down. So that all that scent trail is gone from top down to bottom. So if the fish are up in the water, hopefully they'll follow it down. Yeah, get my drift, as opposed to it being dragged all the way across the top and actually probably being washed down the river. It's actually gone from top to bottom. Same on the canal, really. If there's fish up in the water, and if the water temperatures do come up slightly during the day, the fish will rise up in the water, and hopefully they'll come across that scent trail that's gone from top to bottom and follow it down. So why the cable ties? Well, two things really. One, you've probably seen on that, if I say link back I use that around the section on the pole. So on my top kit, I could loop that through and pull that down so it's probably on my number 4 kit, and I'll have a little tag end like that. So then obviously the hook will go through onto the back of the cork, and then I'll actually either hook that onto the side of the pole, obviously not with it open like that, or I can actually hang the line over the edge of it, either or, whichever works best for you. But then you can ship that out and ship out level as if you're shipping out with a pole cup on, or slightly twisted, so it puts a bit of an angle. And then when you get out to your point, then lift the pole up into the vertical twist, and obviously it will twist it off of there, and it will come off, and it won't swing so much. And then you can hold it straight and lower it in so it's going straight down, then perfect positioning. The only other thing I do with these ones actually, and I've done more so on my bigger one to be fair, is go and get yourself a bottle of wine, is put a bigger piece of cork on for putting bigger hooks on. So if I'm sort of size 12 hooks or something like that, I've actually hot glue gun, took this piece of cork off the back, hot glue gunned a piece of cork that I've got from a nice bottle of Prosecco or something like that, or a nice bottle of red, glued that on the back, and I've actually glued off some old feeders, actually glued some lead strips just into the bottom, because obviously if you think the bigger ones are quite big and if you're catching the flow, it tends to move them off, but it just adds that bit more weight to it. Again, just have to be a little bit more careful on shipping the old pole out. Don't forget you use a rod and line, and there are quite a few lads that use these rod and line, and they just connect a swivel onto the top and just underarm yak them out, bang. And it's one thing I remember doing with Trevor West, and everybody, or Trefor, I don't know how you want to pronounce it, Trevor West, the Barbel guy. Years ago, I was out fishing with him, and that's one of the things we remember we used to do. We'd walk up the river and up the pegs, big bait drop, and keep working his way up, and then we'd work back. I mean, his bait droppers were mad, like flipping proper bean cans they were. We get a lot of bait out into a nice sort of small area, and then you'd fish over the top for Barbel and Chub. Cracking way of fishing. So the other thing with cable tie, so if you're fishing canals and commercials more, it doesn't really happen on the river, silt build up. Tend to find that sometimes, and then when you're plumbing up, it buries in silt, doesn't it? And the plummet can bury in the silt. So the idea being with the cable tie is wrap cable tie around. Obviously pull it too, but in fact we'll pull this one too. Didn't do that earlier, did I? So if we pull the cable tie around, put that on your on the base where the weight is, pull that too, so it's like that. Cut that off so there's a little tag end. It just spreads, gives the foot area a bigger foot area. Yeah, you can get that. So actually when it goes into the silt, because you spread it and made it a little bit wider, it's got more chance of it opening. Sometimes when they bury into the silt that won't open, you'll go in, lower it down, lift it up, it's not open, and you try it again and it won't open. But it's fine if you put cable tie around, just snip the tag end off, it'll open. That's kind of it really. So top piece kit, definitely this time of year, but I use them all year round. This is probably the sizes of men you're going to use this time of year. I use a large one more through some of the months, really, dumping massive amounts of chopped worm down the edge. So you can get breadcrumb, you can put your ground, people put ground bait in as well. Instead of putting ground bait in, they'll just literally just put some smell and a few little particles, maybe some squats or something. Just get a nice bed down there and you can fish dead accurate. If you're a rod and line angler, you might think, oh, I'll fish a waggler and I'll fish a stick flick. Same thing really, you can just clip that up. Just be mindful of the weight when you're casting out. Maybe a separate rod. Don't go snapping the tips off your fine float rods. But just and you can put a few bait droppers down there, so it's just a nice bed. It's not actually being washed down the river as loose feed or wherever you're fishing. So same thing on the run line. It's bang, it's accurate. You can fish over the top, where you're fishing over the top with a waggler, or you're running a stick float over the top. Perfect. So if you've not tried one, get yourself a bait dropper. Don't cost very much. I'll stick some links in the description. Have a look at them, and for this autumn, well, winter now, near enough, for the next sort of few months, get yourself on the bait dropper, learn how to fish it, and I guarantee you it'll make a big difference to your fishing. All right, take care all, see you soon.